Hey everybody, it's Shizug and welcome back to Breaking the Deadlock. Today we're breaking down staticking waves and how it's being applied in high-level games. This is a game from the Downtown Showdown NA number 2 tournament. It's a game from the semifinals of Team Majong and Krill, the eventual winners, versus Team Buff Enjoyers, also known as Team Miguel S from previous videos. We're watching the perspectives of Leffa and Dimov. Each of their streams are going to be linked down below. And we're going to learn about how Leffa used staticking waves to be able to turn this extremely bad lane into a lane that went even, if not won, in the end. So as we see, Leffa's having a hard time in lane versus Yamato. It's understandable. This is a hard matchup. Dimov's a demon on this hero. I don't know how I would play against it quite yet. And we see him diving, using parries well under the tower, and getting the kill, right? This is a minute in. It's a tough lane. Not much he could do here. If you watched my previous video about lost lanes, we're going to understand a little bit about what we should be doing in the scenario. We want to be playing back and just playing for last hits. We can last hit from a far range. And we're going to see Leffa do whatever he can to salvage this lane and make whatever he can of it with the time that he has against Dimov. Skipping forward a little bit, we're going to see Leffa get bursted here and go down, and this is going to cause the eventual downfall of his Guardian right here. This Guardian's going to go down, and by the time he returns, there's going to be no Guardian to protect him anymore. So we're going to see how he deals with this. So Leffa's returning to a lane without a Guardian, and we learned in our previous video, where we talk about lost lanes, that we want to stay back and try to minimize our deaths and just get last hits where we can, right? We can still extract souls from the lane through last hits, but what we're going to see is a little bit different. Leffa's actually going to end up staticking the wave. And what staticking the wave means in this context is he's going to try to keep all these troopers as close to his walker as possible without the walker attacking them. And he's going to try to keep a balance between his troopers and the enemy troopers so that they don't really go anywhere. This like kind of front line that exists between the troopers where they meet, he wants to keep it right here on this ramp.
Guys, I'm freezing yellow, by the way. It's Yamato's gonna have a lot of presence.
And this would be a difficult place for Yamato to sit, right? She would be under the walker and kind of at threat of a lash rotating behind her if we take a look at the map. And Leffa's going to continue to static this wave as long as he doesn't know where the Yamato is. For all he knows, the Yamato is waiting around the corner. And at this point, Yamato isn't last hitting, right? Leffa's last hitting. He's getting the souls from the troopers, but Yamato's missing. So we're going to learn about what staticking a wave actually looks like in practice. Well, we're not going to read too much about where we have the wave, but we're going to try to follow along with what goes on. We don't want to pull aggro from the creeps, so we want them to attack each other. But when a creep starts blinking is the only time that we're going to attack. We're only going to attack when it starts blinking, because otherwise you're going to end up pushing the wave and causing it to go further. So what I'm doing here is I'm waiting for my own to die, and I'm trying to get as much damage onto my own so that this wave pushes into me. And what I'm going to do is not take aggro. I don't want it to damage me, but when it starts blinking, I click. And that's the only time I'm actually clicking a creep. And what this is going to do is it's going to form an equilibrium between the two waves so that you are relatively standing in the same spot as the waves are meeting. And of course, like, it's hard to maintain. This is a little bit flawed because of, I'm pushing here and not necessarily like the player at detriment where we saw Leffa doing it. But this is kind of how you would execute this. You don't draw creep aggro, and then you only click when they start blinking and they don't take damage from the troopers anymore. And that'll keep your wave kind of relatively in the same space. See, we've kind of been in this realm for a while. And if we started staticking the wave in an advantageous spot for us that's safe for us, it would continue to be there and not necessarily be at their walker's door. This is just for example's sake. So in the meantime, after taking the Guardian, Dimov went and took the small camp. And sorry yet again about the video quality. We're limited. The match ID is privated right now. So we're watching Dimov's 4:3 aspect ratio, like 480p video. But there's a lot to learn here. So what we see Dimov do is he goes back and he buys some items, right? And right now, he's trying to route to hit a lot of boxes in between. He's just trying to collect souls wherever he can, because it's not safe for Dimov to exist far up on yellow right now. If you see from his perspective, his wave on the right is all the way at the walker. And he, as I said, he could get rotated on by a lash. So what we see Dimov doing is just rotating around the map, trying not to sap souls from other lanes, but trying to make something of what's going on, right? Trying to hit boxes around the map, golden statues, trying to get whatever value he can. Although he won this lane, he's kind of forced in this awkward situation where he doesn't really want to be that far up on the map. So taking this Guardian in a way is not advantageous at this stage in the game. And we see Dimov rotating around and he's off map. Something important to note is that he's not showing in other lanes at this point. He could easily be yellow and jump Leffa at a moment's notice, but at this point, the situation changes. Dimov's going to show all the way on purple across the map. We're going to check back in on what Leffa's doing. So Leffa's been staticking the wave while Dimov's been off map, hitting boxes, right, going through the subway. And at this point, we see on Leffa's map that Yamato's showing.
Oh, he's purple. Okay, I'm pushing yellow.
So his mindset changes immediately. Now it's time to shove the wave as fast as you can, and you want to create pressure. By creating this pressure, you're able to force this Guardian, right? You're able to hit the Guardian, you're going to get souls from it, it's going to reward the team, it's going to push you towards a flex slot, but also it's going to cause a rotation to come over for this Guardian.
Yeah, someone go yellow, please.
But Lefa's looking at the map. He sees that there's 5 heroes on the right side of the map. This means that there's only one potential person to respond to him right now. So he's going to absolutely capitalize on this and hit the Guardian. This lane where Lefa had his Guardian go down at 3 minutes has now turned around. He's now taking the Guardian at 6 minutes instead, and Dimov's nowhere to show, right? So because of staticking waves, he caused Yamato to go do something else, right? To abandon the lane, and since it was hard to get value out of it, Yamato left. She went and hit boxes and rotated around the map looking for opportunity. But because of that, Lefa was able to apply pressure once Yamato had shown across the map. And now, if we look at the soul count at the top, 4.7k to 4.6k, Lefa has came out of this lane with more souls than Dimov, despite how the lane was going. He was getting stomped in lane, it was unable to exist, he died twice. Because of Lefa staticking that wave at his yellow walker, it caused Dimov to go do something else on the map, and no more pressure was being applied on yellow. Because of that lack of pressure and Dimov appearing on the map, Lefa was able to get that Guardian and now becomes more of an active player in the game, building that net worth lead because of the absence of Yamato, which he forced that absence out because of the way that he was staticking the wave. I think that staticking your wave at your walker appeared for a couple of reasons. Not only is the soul going to be smaller for the last hitter, it's also going to be a little bit more favorable for them to get the last hit compared to the denier. It's going to be like in the netcode essentially. So that allows you to sit at your walker and at a range shoot the creeps and not be at risk of denial. So that's why Dimov left this lane. There was no capability for him to be able to kill Lefa under a walker. That would mean immediate death for Dimov. So he chose to leave and try to hit boxes and make some kind of claim at net worth somewhere on the map other than sitting here under a static wave at a walker. What I wish Team Buff Enjoyers would have coordinated to do is instead have someone from green rotate to blue, have someone from blue rotate to purple, and then have 3 dual lanes and leave yellow open for a little bit until there's pressure being applied. And then from green, you would want to rotate back to yellow when the pressure is being applied. But because of the way that Dimov went across the entire map here, went all the way to purple, he was left saying, hey, can anyone pick up yellow? Can anyone clear that wave? But there was no one there to respond anymore. So I hope you have a better understanding of staticking waves and map pressure now. Staticking waves is going to lead to a void in the map where a player is going to want to leave and rotate because they don't feel safe where they are last sitting initially, which allows you to apply map pressure when that player has left, which allows you to make space for your team and even take objectives yourself. I want to thank Dimov and Lefa for both of their streams. Their Twitches are both going to be in the description, and these were from their Twitch VOD. Hopefully soon we are able to get this match ID and spectate it, because I still don't have access to them for some reason. So we're going to have to cope with the bad visual quality for a little bit, but I hope you learned something and enjoyed this video, and let me know what you think about staticking waves down in the comment section below. All right, everybody, have a good one.